Hello, Internet. This is Rob's Repairs in Vancouver, Canada, in September 2023. So this video is for people who want to save money by buying used stair lifts and installing it themselves and getting it running. So I've now helped, so far this year, I've helped four different people around the world to install their used stair lift. And it's been very interesting a few years because it's about 5 years ago, we used to be able to sell used stair lifts for around 1,500 Canadian dollars. However, the price kept on falling and falling and falling. In the last 3 years, people who are removing or decommissioning stair lifts actually paid us $200 to $700 just to remove their stair lifts. And there is no market here in Greater Vancouver or Metro Vancouver for used stair lifts. The ones that we have decommissioned or taken out, they simply go into the recycling centers for scrap metal. And removing them is also kind of tricky because some models have very tricky, very explosive, very dangerous lithium batteries. And if you're not careful, you could have a small mushroom cloud, as they say. Now, because I've been working with batteries for more than 20 years, I can tell you that I have had small mushroom clouds right in my face. So removing a stair lift is something that people who are cautious pay us to decommission safely. So at this time and at this area, people are advertising used stair lifts primarily in Craigslist, but they're not having any luck. And so, they just they put them in their garage and they list it for free. But not many people are taking them. The last 2 or 3 that we've taken out where we tried to sell them, we had no luck. So we had no luck selling them, so they've gone to the scrap metal recycling route. So anyway, back to the purpose of this video. I'm here to give some tips on what to look for and what to watch out for, and how to what are the basic steps to buy a used unit and install it yourselves. Now, if you're in the Metro Vancouver area, I also offer a pre-purchase inspection service for 150 Canadian. And so here's what to look for. First of all, in terms of where you're putting your stair lift or stair lifts, plural, you want to measure the slope of each stair lift. Okay, the angle, and then the length. Now the length is kind of tricky because each stair lift model has a particular requirement on what to measure. So and you have to be fairly exact with this measurement. And then you have to measure the height of each step. And what you'll find is that, what I found is that the steps are not always the same height. Usually the first or second steps are different height than the rest of the steps the rest of the steps. And then the material. What is the material of is it carpeted, or is it wood, or is it marble or stone? Each one has a different requirement. And then when you're buying used, you also look at the number of stands that come with it. And sometimes what happens is the seller loses some of these stands, and you end up the purchaser ends up having to buy some stands from eBay, or sometimes you can just make your own stand. But the where it's going to be screwed into or bolted into, is it going to be on the wall? Is it going to be on the steps themselves? And also keep in mind that is it a right hand or left hand stair lift? Most of the stair lifts should be removed in a way that makes the reinstallation easier. And if they are not removed with that in mind, the buyer or the new owner of the used stair lift will have a very difficult time and very expensive. So, you know, but you know, the savings can be considerable. So, for example, there's one curved stair lift that had 4 separate bends in the stairs. Now, if that was something that was purchased from the manufacturer, that would be about around $25,000 Canadian. But because the buyer was able to fit in parts from several stair lifts to make it fit, and also, you know, cut up some of the bends into the sections that he needed, he was able to save over $20,000 in that installation. So also it's an interesting exercise, because the curved stair lifts are, you know, it's not impossible to buy a curved stair lift or stair lifts and to fit it into a home. However, there's some things that there were some mistakes made by these purchasers, and so they, in some cases, they end up having to abandon the project after spending considerable money on it, maybe $1,500, including my service. They had to abandon them because they were missing a crucial part which they could not obtain. And also, contrary to what you may think, it's actually better to purchase a 10-year-old stair lift than it is to purchase one that's 3 years old. And I'll tell you the reason. Programming the newer ones in some models requires a computer part that only the manufacturer or the manufacturer's dealers have. And so if you want to reprogram or fix a problem that's developed, then you're out of luck, because only that you're sort of stuck with the manufacturer's technicians who have that particular chip to reprogram. So, for example, here's a very popular model in this part of the world, in Metro Vancouver, Canada, the Acorn 180, Acorn Model 180 curved stair lift. Now, I've actually worked on 5 different versions. Acorn uses the same model number, even though internally and externally they are completely different machines. They just reuse the same number. For example, if you're thinking of buying a used straight stair lift, I recommend that you purchase the Acorn 120 or 130. But I prefer to work on the 120 because even though there are, I don't know, maybe 10 different sub models of the 120, I know all of the problems with them now. So whereas the 130, it's a newer model, and there are not that many solutions available for if you have a problem. Also, people who have an Acorn 180 asking me all over the world for the programming guide are not aware that there are actually 5 different sub-models that I've worked on. And so having the wrong guide, user manual for your model is going to result in a big problem if you don't know what you're working with, what sub-model you're working with, if you have an Acorn curved stair lift, Model 180. So those are my tips for now, and good luck. And so I'm available for remote consulting by teleconference video. I've helped people through with Zoom type software, to install and get over some of the problems in with their do-it-yourself installation. And also, not all of the problems are actually explained in the installation manual. There are some things that are just not explained, regardless of the version. Anyway, good luck. Rob in Vancouver from Rob's Repairs. My mobile number is 604-512-9567. 512-9567.